So now we're going to talk about Lewis dot structures. Lewis dot structures are based on the valence shell, or the outer shell electrons of an atom. So let's take a look at some examples. So starting actually with the group, we can then take a look at what the Lewis structure is. On the periodic table, we start with group 1A. The first thing we look at is a hydrogen. Hydrogen has one electron in its outer shell. Moving down the periodic table, we then see lithium, and lithium also has one electron in its outer shell. And then sodium, Na, has one electron in its outer shell. Let's move down to 2A. 2A starts with beryllium with now 2 electrons in its outer shell. Then also has magnesium with 2 electrons in its outer shell. Great. Let's move on to 3A. 3A actually skips some distance, and when we do that, we find boron with 3 electrons in its outer shell, and aluminum with 3 electrons in its outer shell. This, of course, goes down the entire group, the entire column. Moving along, we have group 4A, and there we have carbon with 4 electrons, and silicon with 4 electrons. Now we go to 5A. And 5A has nitrogen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 electrons in its outer shell. Hopefully you're seeing the pattern. And then phosphorus with also 5 electrons in its outer shell. Moving along, we have 6A, which gives us oxygen, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then sulfur, again, with 6 electrons in its outer shell. Moving along now to 7A, we have fluorine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 electrons in its outer shell. And chlorine, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 electrons in its outer shell. Last but not least, we have our noble gas with, let's take a look. We actually have helium with 2 electrons in its outer shell. But then we have neon with 8 electrons in its outer shell. Remember that special number 8. And argon with 8 electrons in its outer shell.